What is going on? 156 Faithful, Rondo Griffin, Anthony Goulding, Marcus Martin, your team, as always, coming to you again. Victory Tuesday for the boys. The Colts back over 500. And I guess it's a conversation now. Gentlemen, not to sound like the old school Jim Mora, but playoffs? What we thinking?
Mark,
Oh,
you have to take this first.
it looks possible. It looks possible at the moment. We just got to keep winning and see what happens.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, I think I was in the minority of uh, saying that playoffs was a possibility before the season started. I think if you're in the mix around this time, I mean, it's a matter of handling your business, win and get in. So I think we definitely got a chance.
Yeah, we've got a chance, and kind of like how we talked about before even starting this show. Let's go way back to before the season started, because we were all in the kind of the same range vicinity of 5 to 6 wins. Probably not making the playoffs, but just getting the rookie set, having the offense flowing, getting the new team flowing, new coach, new system. You want to get all the kinks worked out before you really started talking about the conversation of the postseason. But even with Gardner Minshew there, the team still looks solid. So I guess the question now, I'll start with you, Gulick. Is it coaching? Is it the athletes? What was Frank Reich really just that piece holding us back? What is it?
I think I think it's a little bit of both. I think the team overall, I think they've improved. The roster practically is about the same as last year. So I think it's a matter of coaching and the players getting better. Who thought a year ago that Zaire Franklin would be this elite linebacker? I don't think anybody really would have thought that. The same goes for a guy like EJ Speed. I mean, I know I'm sticking with defense, but EJ Speed, he's really turned into like this star linebacker for us. And then coaching as well. Frank Reich. I don't necessarily think he was holding us back, but I think that he did just enough to get by. Shane Steichen really just takes us over the top. So I think it's a mixture of both.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, I definitely when it came to that situation, a change was needed. I think we kind of plateaued with Reich. Sure, the quarterback revolving door didn't help. All the controversy, I guess, with that didn't necessarily help. But in terms of his system, what he brought to the team, it was time for a new voice. So you enter Shane Steichen, and look, kind of how you said of how the team hasn't necessarily changed much in terms of the personnel. I think that speaks volumes to the difference between Steichen and Reich, because what was our problem last year? It was scoring points. We couldn't even sniff the red zone. And whereas now with Steichen, with our backup quarterback, and us getting to the end zone, us putting points on the board, it isn't so much of an issue. We're not even necessarily worried about that anymore. The conversation is kind of back to can the defense keep us in the game, because we feel that the offense is going to be strong enough to at least put points on the board and give us a chance. But Marcus, you're a season ticket holder, so I'm sure it's been a whirlwind of emotions for you. But again, clutch victory against Tampa Bay, not an easy win, but get it done. So what was the feelings like live from Lucas Oil?
Oh man, it was lovely from my standpoint. I didn't go to the game this week because usually I give my kids a chance to make it to at least one game during the season. So I was kind of watching it at home from everybody else, like everybody else was. But um, it was to me it was overwhelming victory. I knew going in, we had to put up points on the offense to get the victory. I'm gonna go back to what you said earlier, about the culture, or is it Frank or whatever. I just think it's basically all around coaching. I mean, I'm gonna start with the offensive line. The way the offensive line has been playing from day one. Opening holes and running the ball with Zach Moss, and then now with Taylor coming in the mix, and he's running and he's getting better and better each and every week. Um, and then, on top of that, you got Pittman, coming out. This is his breakout season here. 10 catches, 100 and what, 107, 109 yards yesterday. The past 3 games in a row, I think he's had 10 plus catches. So Steichen is really opened up this playbook, and he has really got all of these players buying in to what he's trying to do in Indy. I mean, we can go back to the Shaq Leonard, release, and to me, I think he set a tone there when when that happened. All of us were shocked about Shaq being released, but I think he set the tone and said, "Hey, I need production, and you guys are NFL players, and if you want to play for the Colts, then I need to see production. So if not, then I'm not going to hesitate to release you." So and I think the guys are buying in, and I think we can make a real good push at this.
Yeah, and so the question kind of comes just that like you mentioned the culture switching. Obviously, we have faith in the offense, faith in the team, and like you say, even when you cut a guy like a Shaq Leonard, it's hey, we need production right now. This isn't a rebuild anymore. We're trying to go for it, but we've got the pieces to go for it, and then not only that, we got the pieces to go for it, and it's not just a 1 year dance type of thing. If we fail this year, we're coming back next year. Our rookies coming back. We're gonna get a new draft class. You got some free agents to pay, but I mean, you brought up Pittman, obviously, guy we've all been huge on. I guess the argument's been across Colts Nation: is he receiver one? Is he not? You mentioned his stats from his past game, which makes him he's now sixth in the league in terms of receptions. But Gula will go to you again. Just so Michael Pittman Jr. receiver one or not? Because I think people need to recognize it.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, he's just one of those players that, just like I said, he's kind of like Terry McLaurin to me. He's just a guy that he's going to go underappreciated just because of his quarterback play. But, he's kind of in the same boat as Leonard. Say Michael Pittman got really unhappy, people would be like, "Oh, I need him on my team." Like if he was really having like the big target, argument from after the Browns game, if he really wanted out, I think Patrick Mahomes would be clamoring for this guy. I think a guy like I'm trying to think of a team with no receivers. Like I don't even know. Baltimore would want him. Like I mean, I'm not saying Baltimore's got no receivers, but I think they're missing a number one. But like, just teams like that. I mean, like, he's just gonna go underappreciated. He's clearly a wide receiver one. He's gonna hit 1,000 yards. He's on pace for that now. Um, and this dude's rock solid, rock solid. I mean, a lot of the catches he was making on Sunday, big hits came right after. I mean, he's just rock solid. He's a receiver one. He's gonna go for 1,000 yards. Hopefully we take care of him in the offseason.
Yeah, exactly. And then you weren't here for the past show. Me and Marcus, we talked about it off the air after we ended that last show. I said where does Pittman fall in terms of the upper echelon of receivers in the league? Like kind of where do you place him? I firmly said that he's top 15. He's not top 10, but he's top 15 and he's not number 15. But Marcus, I guess I'll bring it up, on the air now. Where does he fall in terms of the rest of the league?
Oh man, I mean, you got to say he's up there with the with the greats. I mean the production. This man, he brings his lunch pail and his hard hat every week. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and that's what you want in the guy. I mean, he actually sets the tone sometimes. I think on offense, with them going directly to him and he's getting the ball and setting the tone for everybody else on that offense. I mean, he's not the feisty, get in your face type of receiver, but he's I'm just gonna prove it to you. I'm not gonna talk, I'm not gonna say a word, I'm just gonna go out and put my hard hat and get my lunch pail in, and I'm gonna prove it to you each and every week. And like Anthony said, I hope we take care of him in the offseason because I think he really thrives in this offense.
Yeah, exactly. He's definitely earned his money, and it goes back to the conversation we had in the offseason when we were talking about JT and when we were even talking about Pittman of just that and how coaches have said they want to see how they perform in the new offense before they commit to that money. And, we had said it. Pittman, dude's but like you said, hard hat in his pail. Doesn't say nothing. Is all business. You hear nothing about it. That Browns game where he didn't get his targets was the first and probably maybe the only time in his career where we heard actual frustration of him not getting looks. And like we all kind of agreed, I think it was purely because of a loss. If we win that game, I don't think he even makes that comment. And even then, me personally, like I said, I had no problem with the comments that he made after that game, especially how it went down. And like you said, he's shown up. He's put up the numbers with a revolving door at quarterback. He's proven that he can be quarterback proof. Now, like for me, when it comes to rating elite receivers, I have those kind of two categories of the he's always open or just throw it, I'll get it. Pittman's in that just throw it, I'll get it. But he's on the cusp of that I'm always open category. He's not there just yet, but he's scratching that surface.
Oh yeah, I definitely would agree. Especially with the quarterback play with Gardner Minshew right now. He can give you some good plays and he can give you some oh my god, what are you doing type of plays. Um, so um, but like I said, Pittman has done nothing but produced. And what do you want out of a number one receiver is production. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that with a capital P, production, because that's what this man brings each and every week. Um, as production, and he's earned every bit of whatever he gets in the offseason.
Absolutely. So we started the show. We talked about a little bit talking the playoff conversation. I mean, if the season ended right now, the Colts are in as that second wild card. And so Gula, go start with you because looking at the rest of our schedule, and we said this way back when, but looking at it now, especially with the unfortunate circumstances that have happened, obviously talking about the Bengals losing Burrow for the year. I'm looking at the schedule and it's so soft. Like Gulick sitting at 6-5 with those opponents in front of you. What's the end? What's the end record? The end goal here?
I mean, just like you said, that schedule is very, very weak. I mean, at the worst, and I mean at the worst, you go 3-2 here. Uh, Regarding these last 5 games, I mean, Pittsburgh to me, they still scare me. No matter, like I was actually telling this to Marcus uh, before the show started. I think the Georgia Bulldogs could put on Pittsburgh Steeler helmets and they would beat us just because it's the curse. We haven't beaten them in years, so you know just, just because we're playing the Steelers, I'm worried about them. And then Houston Week 18, they've really been just clicking lately. So those are the two that I'm scared about. But I think 3-2 is got to be your worst record here. I mean, you play Tennessee this week. They're, you know, playing Will Levis. We didn't see him earlier in the year, but that's a game you got to win. Just like you said, Cincinnati's been struggling without Burrow. Atlanta, you got to beat Atlanta, man. And the Raiders too. Like the Raiders, like that's a gimme. They're trying to tank. They basically got Jeff Saturday 2.0 at coach. So, you got to beat at least three of these teams. You hope that you beat Pittsburgh, but we should be favored in all of these games. I think that is the consensus. I mean, we're favored on the road this week. Really, you just got to take care of business, and it's great because we're on the 3-game win streak and we're starting to click.
Yeah, exactly. And you bring up the quarterback question. Obviously we're playing with our backup, but it's like you look ahead to the quarterbacks we're playing. You got in order Will Levis, Jake Browning, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ritter, Aiden O'Connell, and then C.J. Stroud. I'm only afraid of CJ Stroud, and that's the last game of the season. At that point, you're probably playing for the playoff spot in that game. But I think, like you said, the next 5 games are absolutely paramount. And it starts with the Titans. It's a divisional game. Sure, the Titans aren't necessarily in the playoff run, but you still need that. Then Cincinnati, a backup quarterback just like us, but again, it could be a trap game. You need to get that done. You mentioned Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Vegas. So it looks soft, like you said, we should be favored, but at the end of the day, you still got to put the pads on. And you still got to play the games. Marcus, I was like, with that stretch, we know JT officially, as of today, we got the news. He's missing 2 to 3 of these weeks. So without JT, even especially next week at Tennessee, what are you looking at?
I'm thinking we'll be all right without JT. I mean, we seen what Zach Moss can bring earlier in the season when JT was going through his contract situation. So I'm not really too worried about JT being out 2 to 3 weeks. We just need him back for the home stretch. Those games that really mean a lot, like say for instance, um, Houston and Pittsburgh. Are my two that I'm afraid of. That we one of those two of those games that we might let down. But other than that, I think we can pretty much run the table with the rest of the schedule. Like I said, I did have the Bengals game circled, thinking, that Joe Burrow was going to be there, but now that he's not there, I don't have any fear factor for them whatsoever. I mean, even though their defense is pretty tight, without Burrow, their offense is kind of whack right now. So, um, I think me and my what I would like to see is just straight run the table. You know what I'm saying? Like I was telling Anthony right off off the air here is we just got to keep winning, and and I think what Shane is bringing to the locker room, the enthusiasm. You see him on the sideline, just about every play he goes up and he, good job, fellas. He's tapping his offensive line. The defensive guys coming off the field. He's bringing that energy that Nick Sirianni is bringing in Philly right now. You can see it on the sideline. You can see the passion. He's just not as arrogant as Nick Sirianni, but he's bringing that fire, and the players are buying in. I'd like to see us run the table, Rondo.
Yeah, like I said, I'm with you. I'd lean more kind of like Gulick of that. I think you need to set the market at 3-2. Like I got to be a little realistic. I don't. I think we're gonna drop one or two of those games for sure. But if you come out of that series of 5 over 500 going into the last week of the season facing the Texans, I think you're sitting good when it comes to the playoffs. Especially for me because I've been on the record on this show off the air. I was just like I was like the second Richardson got injured, I didn't care about the playoffs. I really honestly didn't. And the fact that we're getting there, the fact that we're even having this conversation, sure, I absolutely love it. And I'm still going to be a Colts fan, but I got to be a little bit realistic. But if Minshew gets the job done and gets us to the promised land, great, love it. And I think we then, he can parlay that to start somewhere else. But as far as I'm concerned, Richardson's the future of this team. Whatever happens this season, like I said, sure, position players, get your stats, get your money. Let's pick up some dubs while we're at it. But I don't want to just walk into the playoffs and then be a first round exit. I think that's my whole thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think you have to kind of look at it two ways. I mean, Tim Tebow and Marcus Mariota have won playoff games. That's something that, a lot of quarterbacks, like better quarterbacks, haven't done. So to me, it's any given Sunday. That's just my opinion. I mean, JT is going to come back better from this, and it's just a thumb, so he's not going to lose any agility. If it was an ankle or something, I'd be, more concerned. Um, but if he's healthy going into the playoffs, I mean, you know, I don't think there's necessarily a team that can stop our run game. I don't think so. I mean, granted, Baltimore is one of the better run defenses, and Zach Moss did a thing against them. Uh, Miami, I don't know if they have a great run defense, but with how good our offensive line is, I don't think anybody can really stop the 1-2. I mean, you're looking at the teams at the top. If you finish in that seventh seed, you're probably looking at playing either Baltimore, uh, Kansas City, or Miami, or Jacksonville, one of those four. And if we get round 3 versus Jacksonville, that would probably be like, I'd be pessimistic about that because we'd be playing in Jacksonville. I'd probably be like, you know what, like that's just a loss because we never play well there. But Miami, Kansas City, Baltimore, I mean, we can run the tables against those guys. It's just a matter of clicking and where we are, because I said it earlier in the year. I said that we have the best 1-2 running back duo in the league, and I think you mentioned Rondo. I forgot if it was on air or off air about CMC and Mitchell. Personally, I think fully healthy, our guys are better, and we saw it on this past week. We had a backup center in there, Wesley French. Ryan Kelly wasn't even playing. Offensive line didn't miss a beat, and those guys were running. And even Zach Moss, people act like Zach Moss is just some backup, but the numbers speak for themselves. And he had a big run where he made some guys miss, and he had a spin move. I mean, this guy can create for himself as well. So our run game, if it's clicking, I think that we can run the table. It doesn't matter about quarterbacks.
Yeah, and that might be one of your flaming hot takes because I did mention CMC and Mitchell, but looking at how the season's gone, it's really been all CMC over there. Mitchell's been kind of an afterthought. So I mean, you throw that in there. Sure, I'm on board. The Colts got the best running back 1-2 punch in the league. Let's do it. I have no problem with that. And you've seen the production. I mean, while JT was out, Moss is nearly leading the league in rushing. So like you said, Marcus, the fact that we're losing JT for 2 to 3 games, you're not going to lose much by inserting his backup and his backup getting majority of the reps because, like I said, we've seen what Moss can do when he has to be the bell cow, and there's really no worry there.
Absolutely not. And like I said, I'm not afraid to let Moss go ahead and do his thing. JT, rest up, get healthy, because If we make it to the playoffs, we don't need him for that playoff stretch run. So I'm good with would love to have Taylor there, but I'm good with Zach Moss, being a bell cow for now.
Yeah, exactly. We're gonna be all right, but I guess we're gonna see what happens in this stretch run because it's crunch time. Like I said, playoffs start right now. We're in, but a lot of football still left to play. That's gonna do it for this one. If you're not already, make sure you're following us on Twitter at First56. Follow us. Give Sideline Sports a follow. YouTube, if you're watching us, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Sideline Sports, a YouTube channel. Catch this show, all of the other shows that Sideline Sports produces, not just us, not just football, but a lot of other content creators, a lot of other different sports. If you name it, we've probably got it. But as always, on behalf of myself, Gulick, Marcus, Silent Sports as an organization, 156 as a team, this is the 156 team signing out. We will catch you guys on the next one.